Khalil and I, Zach, we don't manage 70 people inside of the office. We all individually manage a small handful of people. This is why you guys have seen Khalil. He's kind of stepped away, and he's only talking really specifically to the level 2 leaders. It's because you as one individual, there's only so many people that you can like manage your conversations with. You're gonna be capped at some point, and it's better if, if I'm talking to Jessica, okay, I can give her my full attention, okay? And then if I go to Casey, I can give her my full attention. But at some point, I'm gonna be capped out. At some point, I'm gonna be taking away from the conversations that I'm having with Jessica. If I start having a conversation with every single person in this room, Jessica would not be getting the same type of information that I could be giving her, the same effort, the same type of mentorship, as if it was just her that I was mentoring, as if it was just the four people that I was mentoring. And for whatever reason, that just seems to be the number that people say that you're capped at. I've heard 3, I've heard 5, but we'll just average it out to 4. For the most part, you can really only manage 4 individuals. And I've seen this with outside deals where if you try and manage too many outside deals, it almost blows up in your face. Like you just can't manage you can't manage that many conversations you by yourself all on your own. You have to learn how to manage conversations through whoever it is that you're overseeing, okay? So let's say this person has 3 people. So there's, I don't know how many people it is that are on it, but however many X people, okay? If this were me, okay, what I would do is I would have a conversation with this person right here about whatever it is that they personally need to work on. And then my following conversation with them is going to be about these 3 individuals right here, what conversations it is that they've had. Now, one of the things that I just noticed is that I don't think people are aware of how dialed in they have to be with every little thing it is that they're doing. And it's to the point where Ralph and I are just control freaks, so I think this is something that I think that we were kind of naturally good at out of all the things. We sucked at a lot of things, but this is, for whatever reason, I think we were just naturally good at it, where we were just obsessed with controlling every little situation that was about to happen, meaning I get this person out of training, okay? And this person, first 4 days out of training, is gonna be his 5th day in the field. I know he's not about to work with me. And I know he's about to work with Casey. If this were me, I would be a control freak. I would know who Casey is. I would know what her production has been the last week. And I would tell my new start, Jessica, hey Jessica, you're about to work with Casey. She's a stud. She's always getting 6 apps a week. She's always doing the right things. She's always whatever. Make sure you really follow and listen to everything that it is that she's doing. You're gonna go, and I would find out what store it is that she's gonna work at, and I would preempt to strike anything that may happen in the store. If she's gonna be going to 6482, this is Little Mexico, okay? This is all Hispanics, okay? But a lot of the Hispanics, I promise you, they know English, okay? They're gonna talk to you, and they're gonna look like Hispanics, like they don't know anything. But if you talk to them in English, or if you just say, hola, ¿cómo está? They'll listen to you, and you'll be able to bring them back to the table, and you'll be able to pitch them. And you have to be able to set that expectation. You have to know what it is, and that's where putting yourself in their shoes. You have to know what it is that they're about to go through, and you want to set the expectation, and that's where you're really controlling what it is that their perspective of everything's about to happen. Because if I don't have that conversation with Jessica, she's going to go out into the field, and she's going to, see that it's all a bunch of Hispanics. It's Little Mexico. Let's imagine Jessica's white. Okay, it's all It's all a bunch of Hispanics, and she's gonna be, what the heck? They all speak Spanish. They don't speak English. She's gonna get negged out. But if I've already told her, hey, they're all Hispanics. It's all good. You're working with Casey. She's a stud. You guys are gonna smash it. Like that's the thing that they're focused on, because you can look at it both ways when you go out into the store. Okay, so that's just one example of how you put yourself in their shoes, and then you manage that conversation. And then if it were me, I would talk to this person and make sure before they head out, okay, I would know okay, so let's imagine this person's leader now. This person is their first new start. They're about to have that same conversation that I had with Jessica or with Casey originally. Okay, if it were me, I wouldn't go up and have this conversation with this third person. I would talk to Casey and I said, hey Casey, it's your person's 5th day in the field. Did you have so-and-so conversation? Did you set the expectations? Okay, if you haven't, awesome. Just make sure you go do that and you'll be all set. Okay, and that's how you manage a shit ton of people. If this person's me, okay, I'm managing and making sure all the conversations are being had. And then when this person gets to leadership, they start doing 2nd round interviews. Okay, I would be manic about making sure that they're shadowing someone. I would find out who it is that they're shadowing, and there's so many people here in this office, so many different 2nd round interviews. Like I would be manic about knowing who does what kind of 2nd round interviews. Like there's some people that start with the questions first, or some people that do the questions at the end. I would know who exactly it is, who does what type of second round interview. That way, in case my person shadows someone, I know what conversations it is to have. Like I think Deborah shadowed Maud's interview today. So I told Cynthia, I was like, okay, well, Maud's interview is like basically the same as mine. Cynthia, I taught you my interview, so she should be good there. But if she shadowed Jessica's interview, I know Jessica's interview is a little bit differently, so I would want to get feedback on how the interview went, and I would want to let her know some of the differences and some of the things that she shouldn't do, that may work with our interview, but may not work with her interview. She's trying to implement the two together. Okay, and that's just, again, it's such a weird obsession that you have to like develop almost, and seeing everything that's about to happen, and like literally putting yourself in the shoes and figuring out the experiences that they're going through, and making sure that you're having a conversation about those things. So anyways, this person, they shadowed their first second round interview, have a conversation about that second round interview, how it went, what could be different, what do you need to change, and then you should be practicing second round interviews with them, and then their first second round interview. After they do their first second round interview, and you should always do this moving forward, you should always get feedback on that second round interview. Okay, you should be controlling and collecting information so that you know where your business is heading. Okay, if they hire someone and right off the bat they tell you, yeah, I'm gonna hire them. They were really shy, but I think I can get it out of them. I think I can get them to do the job. And you start asking questions like, well, what did they say about how much income they want to make? How confident did they seem when you said you wanted them, that they were going to have to be out there talking to every single person? How confident did they really seem? And then they give you all this feedback that says, I don't know if you would have hired that. Like if you did the second round interview, you probably wouldn't have hired that person. Okay, but for whatever reason, this new start is excited. Like you should take a mental note of that and maybe set the expectations. Like, okay, well, does it sound like you probably should have hired them? Are you sure you want to hire them? Okay, awesome. You hired them. They come out, they suck. Then you can go back to that conversation and reference it and mention like, hey, these are the things that you need. You said these things last time. You need to make sure you watch out for these things because these were red flags for me. So you need to make sure you watch out for them whenever it is that you're doing another interview. But again, that conversation was had at one point. That new start comes in next week. That new start maybe makes a week, but then gets fired 3 weeks later. That's when you're referencing that first original conversation. So it's just, again, that's what managing conversations is multiple different conversations, multiple different experiences that you're like juggling inside of your head, and you're somehow trying to reference them and just constantly following up on what it is that's going on. When you're managing more and more people throughout the field, let's say this is me and they're managing all these people, when I call this person at the end of the day, I want to ask them if this person talked to this person over here. I want to ask how they did, what they're going through, what are they feeling, who they worked with, how was that like. Any little thing that you can think of that they may have experienced, you somehow need to find a way to have a conversation. It's not like some checklist thing that every single time you have the exact same conversation. Like I definitely freeball it when I do it. I just ask random questions about what it is, but to some extent there's got to be some continuity with the conversations. But all at the end of the day, all you're doing is you're gathering information, and the information that you're gathering is the experiences that they're having or the experiences that they're about to have, so that you can set some form of expectations to control the perspective that they're about to have. And Isaiah, he's a pro at this because he lives and dies by this kind of stuff, and he just controls every single conversation. If you start controlling the conversations, you're controlling the perspective, and you can really control whether or not this person is going to make it. And I'm trying to think of just random examples of things that you can do. For someone brand new out of training, let's say it's their second week in the field, you should be on top of like how good are they with rebuttals, how good are they with objections, closing, do they struggle with the hook, like how on point is all that stuff. I remember when Raf and I we were first building up Toledo, like we were fucking obsessed with everyone doing exactly the way that we were doing. And before we would walk into Atmo, we would already kind of have a game plan. Okay, this person, whenever they get the wife objection, they don't respond the exact same way that we do. For whatever reason, on the side-by-side, they like jump into the right side way too quick, or whatever it may be. Like we knew where everyone was at and what everyone needed to work on, and we would come into Atmo like with the plan. Sometimes people kind of just walk into Atmo with absolutely no plan of what it is that they're going to be doing for the day. And if you have people under you, you should have some form of plan of what it is that's going to happen in Atmo. Who's going to work with who needs to work on what, who needs to get better on what. Like there needs to be, if you're coming into Atmo just nonchalantly, just kind of showing up, ready to get excited and pumped up and whatever it may be, there's probably something that you can do, some people's shoes that you can put yourself in and see what it is that they're about to experience, and then try and focus on that and try and work on that. But does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
Rob, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to think of other examples. But I think that's kind of the biggest thing, is just overall just you managing all the experiences and expectations that people are having, and just gathering information on how it is that those experiences went after they've had them. That way you're checking the gauges and making sure that everything is going the way that it's supposed to be going. Does anyone have questions on that?
All right, cool. So, here. So, like we said, we're level 2s. We're still managing ourselves a little bit, managing the team now. So, when is the perfect time to set that expectation? Should we call our team on the way to the store, right before they leave the office? When should we have those expectations of who you're working with on the lineup? Because I don't know about y'all, but I don't know who my people are going with to the store yet until the lineup is really posted. Okay, and so when is the perfect time to have that conversation?
So it is different because here we post the lineup right as you guys get out.
Right.
So you can do it whenever. You can call them on the way to the store. Like, this is literally like a 30, 45-second conversation, if that. And sometimes we say conversations and people think they gotta have like this long, heart-to-heart conversation. It's just a really quick checking the gauges, just making a quick comment. Like, Khalil does it really good where he just, Cheyenne walked in, he's like, Cheyenne, how's it going? You rolled a 0 yesterday. What happened? Like that. Like, it's hilarious. Someone heard it.
Yeah,
but there's no way that didn't ping her on, hey, I can't fucking roll 0s. Okay? And all it was 30, 40, it was maybe 30 seconds, if that. And it's very small. I wouldn't overthink it. Just and try and make the conversation as natural as it can be. Not always like, some people call people and it's like, I gotta ask these questions, and it's like, yeah. I would try and make it as natural as you can make it.
Okay.
Any other questions?
All right, let's go clean up, y'all.